Oh yeah, welcome back everybody. Welcome back. So, how did everybody enjoy their, what was it, 3-4 days of playing Ghost Recon Breakpoint? I myself, y'all had a great time, guys. I streamed a couple days. Thank you for everyone who came out and hung out while I streamed. So, I figured I'd make this video discussing the game. I know there's some people who want to know my ideas on the beta, was questioning if I was going to review it. And I know there are plenty of channels out there doing the same old stuff, reviewing it, giving you their thoughts. FYI, I put up a video called I Am Sam Fisher. Go check it out. I put in a lot of work into that video, basically theatrical gameplay of me recreating Sam Fisher like content or gameplay footage. So go check that out. I'll link it up here actually for you guys, even though I really shouldn't have to. It's my next video, the video before this. But so let's get into this beta review. Let's see, let's discuss some things here and go over some things. And yeah, so right off the bat, I want to talk about optimization. Let's knock out some of these key points. Optimization was bad. I think everybody knew that. My specs, 1700X Ryzen 5 1700X CPU. What do I have? A 1070 Ti NVIDIA GPU. I have 16 gigs. I'm running Windows 10 and 1440p monitor, 144 hertz refresh rate. I was barely getting 30, 40, 50 frames per second in game at any given time. Optimization felt really bad. I know I was talking to a couple people telling me they were getting maybe about 60 frames. They were playing at 1080p. So that could have been some issues, but right off the bat, optimization, Ubisoft needs to do some work in this department. I looked at some other channels and they also said the optimization was kind of poor. So that right off the bat, optimization needs to be fixed, hopefully. Let's move on to animations. A lot of people don't like the animations, and I have to be honest, guys, I love them. I think the animations are so clean. I think if you really look at the work that these guys did with the motion capture with the special forces, the running, the creeping, the moving from with your gun out around cover, he with the handgun or whatever, he moves his hand in a way where he's covering everything. There are little details to every animation, with every hopping over things, landing. You could tell they put in a lot of work into the animations and the motion capture, and I want to give Ubisoft a lot of credit for this. They really are pushing the bar. I think this is one of the greatest games as far as third person animations I've ever seen, next to maybe something like Metal Gear Solid 5. Now, I know a lot of people are going to push back on me with this, you know, with the exception of maybe the sprint. That animation's a little funky with the upper body that moves so much. And I know with controlling your character, not so much the animations themselves, but the control scheme, I know the character feels a little clunky and a little late to response. There's some input lag there, almost as if, I don't know if it's done on purpose to give you a sense of really feeling the character and the decisions you make with him, but I feel like there could be a little bit more response time from the moment you press W or you press up on the analog to the moment he moves, to the moment you let go, to the moment he stops. There is some input lag there. There are some issues there. But besides that, I think the animations are phenomenal. I think a lot of people are going to go into this game, whereas the previous games, Future Soldier, Wildlands, Advanced Warfare, basically all the third-person ones, came from the SOCOM era third person, where the camera was always locked onto your back, and no matter where you move, the camera stood there. Now the camera free flows around the character. It makes for a way better experience, and I really enjoy that. I have been dying for this type of camera movement around our in our Ghost Recon games, that you could free flow around the character no matter what direction he moves. You could spin the camera around the character. I really like that. I was able to do a lot with the I Am Sam Fisher video with it, with editing and everything. So really kudos to the development team and the animators when it came to all the animations with the character. So I can't stress that enough. Of course, there are things to be fixed, but I really like the animations and maybe some tweaking on the feel of the controls, and then I think it might be actually almost perfect. As far as bugs, there's a lot of them. I'm not going to get into bugs. Carrying the enemies to move their bodies, sometimes it was buggy. Going through the karambit knife animations were buggy. There was a time where if I did it around a dock or an area where you could fall off, the guy would come and he does like the swipe and he spins, and I would spin off the dock. The whole thing would go buggy. There are a lot of bugs in the game still. I know a lot of people say, oh, but this is just a beta, but you know, guys, is this your first rodeo? This is basically what's being shipped. I know we'll probably get a day one patch. I would expect a lot of support on the game for the foreseeable future, 6 months to a year, to iron out all the little game breaking bugs like that. But basically, if you don't like the way this game felt in this state, I would hold off to buy until maybe 6 months from now when they have a sale. Right, Division came out in March and you could find it like half off the past month or two when they had sales. So probably same thing for Breakpoint. I would hold off. If you didn't like the way it played right now, then it's probably not going to get better in 30 days. So yeah. Gunplay. As far as the gunplay, I really enjoyed the way the shooting felt. I think it feels good. I think some of the sounds need work. For the weapons, there was a lot of lackluster thump or bass, or just feeling that you were firing a weapon. I was shooting the Desert Eagle LMGs, and they just didn't have, you know, it also could be my speaker system. Maybe they are doing some like Dolby 5.1 surround sound type. You know, maybe with certain speakers it's not sounding great. Just comparing it to what I saw with the Call of Duty, what was it, alpha gameplay, you know, it really, I could tell the difference between the sounds that these two companies are using. Even the suppressor sound, I have a video on suppressors. I'll link it up here for some of you guys. I mean, you don't have to go watch it obviously, but I really discuss how companies need to change the way suppressors sound with the little, they sound like little darts, like little, you know, like indigenous people in the jungle, like Apocalypto, rolling up like freaking leaves and shooting darts at you. That's what the suppressors sound like. And I don't know, I think I'm over that, but I don't want to really get into that as much as the gunplay to me felt really good, shooting felt really good, and just maybe some sound issues. There might have been some recoil issues that I didn't see with certain weapons, but maybe that's built in. I think maybe they want to make it to where you get to a point where you can control your weapon really well. I'm not sure. But overall, the gunplay, I give it a thumbs up. If you're looking for a good third-person shooter, stealth action, or even if you want to go loud and just walk around shooting people, this is probably the best thing you're going to get since Wildlands or something like Metal Gear Solid with open world gunfights and things of that nature. So in that department, I think you should go out, check this game out, maybe give it a purchase, because there's really nothing else in the market like this. You get your Tomb Raiders, your Drake games, but as far as open world tactical shooters like this, ignoring everything like tiered loot, I'm not even really going to get into stuff like that, guys. Tiered loot, RPG mechanics, the gunsmith, you know, I really didn't get a chance to dive into much during the beta. We kind of all know how these things are operating at this point, as far as tiered loot dropping in the world, how all of that works. That is what it is. And if that was going to ruin the game for you, then don't get the game. Okay, but for me, I'm going to try to ignore that. As you see, if you look in my I Am Sam Fisher video, I had the entire HUD off, and yet the tiered loot would still show. The loot on the ground would still show. So that was an issue, but hopefully I could fix that. That's just a UI issue. But moving forward, driving mechanics are still mediocre. Don't expect much here. I think you're going to basically get what you get. You're not supposed to be in a car driving around much anyway. It's basically from point to point. I don't see them fixing this anytime ever, especially since we just went through 2 years of Wildlands with people asking for them to fix the driving, and it's still trash. So the motorcycle felt a little better. I think it felt a little more sticky, as in I didn't fly off it as much as Wildlands. That's yet to be seen though, playing more. I didn't do much vehicle driving around or anything, so but yeah, it is what it is. The bivouacs are boring. I have a video on the bivouacs. I'll link up here if you want to watch that. I really got to stop saying that, because every time I say I got to link it up here, then after I make the video, I got to go in and find them and put them in cards, and that just gets annoying. But you never know, someone might come upon the video and be like, oh, bivouacs, let me see what that's about. So yeah, I'll link it. You could check out the bivouacs. Just like what I said in that video, the bivouacs to me are boring. That you unlock them fast location, and if I go into it to change the time, I'll give myself a buff. Other than that, if I don't have a buff on me and I fast travel to a bivouac, I found myself just keeping it moving, didn't even really care about the buff. Kudos for Ubisoft for upping the buff limit to an hour. I think that makes a big big difference, in my opinion. The bivouac, it shouldn't even have the buff shouldn't have a time limit. It should be until death. So you should give yourself a buff at the bivouac, and it should persist until you die or until you go to the bivouac to give yourself a new one. That's just my opinion. As far as I should have said this for the gunplay. I fought a couple behemoths, which was kind of fun. They're a little boring. They become a little redundant after a while. Is that the right word? Maybe not. No, not redundant. Maybe they become a little repetitive. And but during my fight with a behemoth, I took out the rocket launcher a few times. I think the rocket launcher mechanics are terrible. By the time you take it out, it sticks you get stuck, and then you could only creep, right? You go very, very slow, and then after you shoot it, you can't move until you put it away, and then you could move. This entire thing needs to be scraped and rebuilt from the ground up, the animation. I don't know why I can't just move around with the rocket launcher. Maybe they wanted it for like balance for PvP. I'm not sure. But this is a problem. I'm going to go off on a limb and say that is why. And this is a problem with developing for both PvE and PvP and PvE, is that you get animations and mechanics that just feel really bad, because I shouldn't have to shoot a rocket launcher and then get stuck there to put it away. Also, on top of that, after you shoot it once, he puts it away, and you got to take it back out to shoot it again. You can't shoot it and just keep reloading and shooting it. So these are mistakes that need to be addressed, in my opinion, unless that's how Ubisoft wants it, which is a really, really bad idea. But the rocket launcher felt really, I don't know, I didn't enjoy it that much. Let's see, as far as CQC, this is another thing that comes back to animations with the KARAMBIT. Guys, I didn't like the KARAMBIT at all. You guys let me know how you feel about the KARAMBIT versus the straight knife, straight blade, or whatever it's called. I'm going to tell you why. The main animation for the KARAMBIT was, what was it again? I think he slices them, and then he'll like throw them on the floor and then slice them. It just took too long, in my opinion. Then there are ones where he would fight, so he'd slice him, spin away. This is what I was talking about with the animations. I would slice his legs, spin away, and then fall. But if he doesn't, he slices, spins away, he gets him on the ground. It's like a whole dance. With the straight blade, the single easiest CQC move is coming up behind him and just slicing him, stabbing him, and that's it, you're done. Now for me, I don't know how you guys want to play. I would like to have a karambit be a little, maybe it's a little fancier, but it should have been more with, you know, slice the leg and then the guy will come down just like with the straight blade. You stab the leg, he comes down, and then you go underneath his neck and just cut him. With the karambit, maybe it could have been like a slice and then a slice to the neck real quick, like what. He just slices you up real quick and then that's it. You don't even have to engage in grappling. You know, with the karambit, it should have just been some quick slices, slice the leg, slice the arm, and then slice the neck, and the guy just sits there and, you know, maybe he dies. As it is now, I'm gonna always roll out with the straight blade because the quick animation of just grabbing him and slicing his neck and stabbing him seems to be the most efficient animation, and the karambit animations just take too long in my opinion. So that you figure that out, your play style. You might like the whole dance and everything, but I don't like that. I'd rather get the animation done as quickly as possible, just in case, let's say there are two guards patrolling, one behind another, or there are two guys, you want to get it done fast. You use the karambit, you're dancing around while the other guy might start patrolling, so you want to get that stealth kill in quick and keep it moving. So I found myself, after looking at the animations, playing with the straight blade. Let's keep it moving from here. Audio issues, guys. I still find issues where I'll kill an enemy over here and a civilian in a building over here will trigger their audio speech, like, oh my god, I have a family, or things like that.
Did some wake up! Come too.
I thought that was really it kind of, it's immersion breaking in a way. And also with civilians, you walk past them and they're like, hey, you're in my personal space, or oh, dude, you're making me nervous. Like, there were just things that don't make sense as far as developers sitting down and saying to themselves, what should these people be saying? What's the narrative of the game? You know, how do these people feel? Didn't Skell and all his people get taken over by these this guerrilla force, or whatever you want to call them, these soldiers? So wouldn't anybody killing them, wouldn't they be like, oh wow, maybe this is a good guy, you know, saving us? Or I don't know, I'd rather them just shut up.
Hey, can't you see I'm busy? Dude, you're making me anxious.
I'd rather them just shut up and not say anything than, oh, excuse me, you're in my personal space. Like a fully decked out soldier walking around with guns, and you're gonna look at them and be like, excuse me, you're in my personal space. Like, how SJW do you have to be to program that? And like, that I feel like that came from somebody who was born in like in the SJW era and is now 20 whatever years old and is one of these, like, oh my god, like, how could you even shoot that guy and then be like all in my personal space? Like, can you move, please? I'm so offended you even decided to come and kill that guy. Like, like, that's what I feel like every time these people say something. Every time one of the civilians said something, I felt like killing them. Yeah, I felt like wait up, I'm gonna edit this out. So yeah, I don't know, that's excuse me if I'm offending anyone, but that's just how I feel when I hear them. When I hear those audio lines go off, it's like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, they couldn't think of anything better. And this leads me to how I always say how these great minds can build these games, but then come in with these weird decisions, you know? So, let's see, some changes I'd like to see. I think the whole picking up the body, it takes so long, I'm never going to pick up a body. And I don't know if it's an old animation that they're using. It looks like maybe they tried to port it over from Splinter Cell. And I gotta be honest, besides creating new maps and maybe new motion capture with animations, I feel like Ubisoft is getting a little lazy with their development process, because as you can see, if everything is ported over from another game, what are you really doing the entire time except making sure all these systems are communicating with your new game to make sure there's no bugs? And there are still bugs, but you know, the whole fireman carry to save a teammate or to remove an enemy, it is so slow, it's painful. It's painful. It would have made a lot more sense to animate your hand, like your hand's on a gun. Animate one hand going down and just grabbing a guy, your either your friendly that you want to heal or an enemy that you want to hide the body, and just drag them. Anyway, bottom line is you should just drag the guy on the floor, because the carry animation sucks. I'm probably never going to use it. If it was quick, I would use it, but it's not. I'm like a broken record. Enemies need to react to bullets. I'll link it up here for a great video where I compare Wildlands, and I am going to make a new video on this actually now that I have Breakpoint footage. And the funny part is, guys, the animations are there. I shot enemies when they were not in alert mode, and they reacted to getting shot. So all you need, all the developers need to do, is not make them go into Terminator mode when they're in alert, and to have those animations go off. Because 10 out of 10 times when you're shooting an enemy and it's a firefight, they're in alert mode, they're not reacting. All right, let's say 9 out of 10 times, because every once in a while there might be a little but from what I saw, mostly they don't react to bullets, and it really detracts from the gunplay, which I said that should have been in the gunplay section. But yeah, that needs to be changed. AI feels isn't really describe. What I really mean, if I'm sitting firing and there's 3 AI guys, I'm surprised they don't know how to program it where one of them could lay down suppressing fire and the other 2 try to flank you. The AI, they don't move from cover to cover consistently enough to the point where sometimes they'll be behind a truck and then they'll run out of the truck to try to shoot you. Instead of popping out and shooting, they run out to engage you. And I don't know if this is a decision by the developers, like, well, we don't want it to be too hard, so you know, we want the gunfights we want the players to be able to win the gunfights. Like, I don't know. There aren't enough mechanics with the gunfights for it to feel challenging. I want one guy to have an LMG and constantly be laying down bullets to be to the point where I'm afraid to pop up and shoot while I see another guy flank. So maybe I got to throw a grenade and throw it that way and try to run. I don't know. I want the AI to feel more like they're engaged in the firefight and they're not just there as cannon fodder for me to just shoot them and keep it moving. And that's what it feels like a lot of the time in gunfights. As far as the map feels a bit barren. It's basically enemy hub, enemy hub, enemy hub, enemy hub, with a couple people sprinkled in between in the forest or on the street. And I don't know if the rest of the map has cities like Wildlands did, but there felt like there was no real like indigenous population, like how we get in Erewhon, right? There are citizens here, right? There are people who work there, so there should be cities and markets. It shouldn't just be one military hub, one R&D hub all taken over by military guys. There should be sprawling cities and big industrial areas of civilians. I think this is what's lacking. as far as the few zones that I saw so far in the beta and the OTT. I mean, same thing at this point. So anything else? That's really it. I'm not sure what else can I discuss. Yeah, that's really it at this point. Bottom line, I'm gonna buy it. I had a lot of fun, as you can see from my I Am Sam Fisher video. The gameplay is there if you want to go out there and be Sam Fisher, or if you saw my 2 streams that I did, guys, you can throw on an LMG, deck your guy out, and go out there and be a soldier. You know, that type of gameplay is still here. If you want to control AI or wait for the AI to come back into the game. If you're looking for a good, solid third-person shooter, I still think this game has all the potential that is there for a fun, tactical third-person shooter. There are just a lot of issues. There are bugs, and there are problems with some systems that people don't like. Tiered loot, RPG mechanics, always online, things of this nature. That's another thing I'm not explaining. Obviously, yes, it's always online. It's always going to be online. If that's a no buy for you, you probably know that already. And if you don't, now you do. And that's it. Going on almost a half an hour now. I find it so weird. I can sit here and talk for so long. Everybody gets in a good 10-minute video and they keep it moving. And I babble at the mouth for 30 minutes pretending all you guys are going to sit here and watch this entire thing. But you know, I try to spice it up in the background. I'll have footage playing that coincides with what I'm saying to the best of my ability for what I have recorded. And that's it. So you guys, you girls, you let me know what you felt about the beta, if you got in, if you saw people playing it, what footage you saw of everybody. What do you think about the game so far? You know, how does it look? Is it a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10? I think right now it's about a 7 out of 10 I would give it. Basically, when it launches, it could be a solid 8 if they fix everything. But I think based on just the mechanics alone, for me, I'm going to enjoy this game very, very much, because this is what I like to do. I like to turn off the HUD, immerse myself in the game, be a kind of hit and run soldier, assassination missions. I think it's going to be really, really fun. I love the free flowing camera. I love the way that the guy animates, minus maybe something here and there, like the sprint. And I think it's a purchase on day one for me. You guys let me know what you think. Let me know everything that I said. If I missed something, add it in the comments. I'm sure people who will click on this video, they're going to read the comments. You could bring to light some issues you had that I didn't bring up. And yeah, so that's all for now. Everybody, thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day. All right, I will see you in the next video. Peace.